first category is black in. Hey everybody.
Hello.
I would call this cultural differences with American versus British.
Yes.
So Zibby, start by introducing yourself.
Okay. Hello everyone. I'm Zibby. Okay, so I'm from England and specifically London. And in London, I'm from Greenwich, which is southeast London.
So you're the special guest. I'm gonna let you take it away. Talk about being black in England.
Okay. So, pretty much, I think the best way I can sort of say this in a short way. Remember when you sent that link about that American tourist who made a list of the differences between the UK and the US? And it was very interesting. When he got to like black people, he just said in England, black people are just people. They kind of see them as people, which I found really interesting because, you know, like in the recent media and like in the news and whenever we see, you know, race relations in America, especially with black people, there always seems to kind of be this, like the black person's made out to be this horrible kind of monster, vilified a lot more, it appears. Whereas in England, again, not to say that there's no racism, there's definitely a lot of racism in England, be it on black people, Indian people, anyone, there's racism in England. But it just seems that it's it's different. It doesn't seem as maybe more extreme, and I don't know, maybe that could be to do with how British people are in terms of confrontation or in terms of talking about things. So maybe it's because we're not maybe so upfront as Americans are, so it seems as if it's not such a hot issue, but we definitely do have race problems. And also, I think I've mentioned this to you before again, like British people, you know, like white British people do have, some of them do kind of have this whole colonial past kind of weighing down on their heads. So a lot of people are sensitive to kind of to how they talk to ethnic minorities. Because again, when you have to keep in mind that a lot of the ethnic minorities that are in the UK are from the colonial countries, so like the past like British Empire colonies. So like we have a lot of Caribbeans, Africans, and like the subcontinent, like Asian subcontinent, like Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and all that. So I mean, for me personally, this is my own personal view, I feel as if any kind of discrimination I've felt in England doesn't seem to be on par as maybe my black compatriots in America have dealt with.
So are you saying that whatever you experienced has not been because of your race, or it hasn't been as bad as it seems in America?
For starters, I've never really had anyone use the N-word towards me. I've never had anyone say anything derogatory about my skin color. And so I can only say that if I've ever felt discrimination, I could say maybe it's because the person was prejudiced, but the way it was done was in a way that I couldn't really be like, you were racist towards me.
But you have told me that there are words that they have, like derogatory words that they have for people from Africa and people from the Caribbean.
Exactly. So for example, like, and again, this is with the really, like the older generation, some people, you know, would say things like you know, like the Caribbean, so we might call them like the reggae boys, you know, and some would say things like, oh, like your jungle brothers and sisters, which would be for like the African people of African descent. And then of course, like with Asians, like, you know, with anyone that could be, you know, that looks a bit Indian or something. I don't really want like do you know what, like, you know, Pakistan, if you shorten the word Pakistan, just the first four letters, P-A-K-I, like that's
a derogatory
really derogatory. So like if you say that to someone, it's you know, pretty much as bad as I would say as the N-word.
Oh, wow.
And so you have people using that as well in England.
Okay.
So there definitely is a lot of that. But it's just, I think the way it's done in England is maybe, again, you could say it's even worse because maybe it's not so direct. You have to be a bit clued on that someone is being racist to me. It doesn't, yeah, I would say.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like, I don't know, which one is better? I had a teacher when I was in middle school. Her name was Ms. Eastern, and she stood out because back then she had like a really low cut hair, and she had all you could see was her little curly hair. At a time when I guess like it wasn't that popular to wear like natural hair or whatever, and we used to wear these big earrings with her short cut hair. Anyway, the point was she sat with us one time during lunch, and she talked about how she really wants to move back down south because she prefers it there, because there you know when someone doesn't like you, and it's really clear. In here, or in Milwaukee where I'm from, she was saying it's way more covert. And I don't know, sometimes I wonder which is better. For me personally, I guess I do prefer to know up front, like how to deal with someone and how they kind of regard me. So I'll touch on this really quickly. Being black in America, I mean, it's all over the media all the time. There's two sides to it. I mean, it's not, in everyday life, we're not like down and depressed and struggling and afraid of the police, but then at the same time we are like, it's more of a subconscious thing where it's like we live our daily lives regularly like any other American. We have our friends, we have our liberties, we have normal things that Americans have, but then it's just the history is so deep and it's so current. Like, a lot of people like to think just because we have a black president that means there's no more racism in America. And if you watch any American news, any random thing from the presidential debates that you see, from cops killing young black boys, from anything, you'll see that it is still alive and well. And so that's the thing, that when black people complain about racism, or when we talk about that, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the everyday injustice that, whether it's covert or overt, like it's there, and we see it every day. And that's something that we have to basically push in the back of our minds, just to live our lives as comfortably and positively as possible, without breaking down or being depressed about like how a system can oppress a people just because of their skin color. And again, this has been going on for centuries. It's not something new. It's not. Anyway, that's
Okay.
Yeah.
But going back to just quickly, just to weigh this in, the UK is a very classist society. We are really a classist society. So actually, a lot of the things, I think, in the UK, the thing that people judge you most on is how you speak, how you talk. So, if you don't speak properly, if you don't pronounce your T's, people are going to judge you.
Because you told me that about Adele, right?
Yeah,
like when
exactly.
they first heard how she spoke.
Yeah. So some people were a bit like, yeah, and I mean, I do have some friends who are kind of who have said things like, like, I prefer to just listen to Adele singing. I would rather not hear her speak. And that was actually something that my parents were really cautious of. My mum always said to me, you need to pronounce your T's. Always pronounce your T's. And especially in the southeast of England, in London, there's this thing about people replace the TH sound for F.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so with that kind of thing, the UK is so, I cannot stress how classist a society we are. And of course, when you start to look down at the people within those, that represent in those class, that's where a bit of the racism comes in as well. I mean, sometimes I've had people in the UK who said to me, oh, you're really well spoken. They've been surprised when I've turned up and they've seen me.
That happens in America.
Yeah. So take what you will from that, pretty much. Oh, yeah. Kenya's favorite. God.
So Americans, when we meet each other, okay, well, first of all, Americans do small talk. We do small talk everywhere and anywhere to strangers, people we never met, people we don't know. And we'll do it on the bus stop, we'll do it in department stores, we'll do it at the doctor's office, we'll do it on public transportation. We do it anywhere. And
What's wrong? Sometimes you just need a bit of silence. What's wrong with just being silent?
there's nothing wrong with it. But if you strike up a conversation with someone, I mean,
But what are you striking up the conversation about? That's
so you could maybe ask someone like, "Oh, I really like your shoes. Where'd you get them from?" And then it can carry on from there. Or,
okay.
"Oh, do you know what time the bus is coming?" I don't know. Sometimes people are just social.
Okay.
And we also are very comfortable with touching. Like we like to do hugs.
Yeah,
We
I
like
know
to
you
hug.
do.
We like to hug in America. So, okay. So let me give you an example of what we're talking about, and then Zibby will take over. So one time we were in a cafe. What's that cafe? Oh, just up the street where the bird is.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and so we were sitting down, minding our own business, and there was a woman who walked in, and she was looking for a outlet, a plug to recharge her phone. And she was like looking at her friends, like, I can't find a plug. First, she was Korean, so she wasn't speaking in English, but I could tell by how she was acting and the distress on her face what she was looking for. So Zippy and I are talking, but then I see the woman in distress, so I say, "Oh, Yogi-o," that means like, "Excuse me, you're over here." And I said, "Oh, there's a plug right there." And she was like, "Oh, 감사합니다." And then Zippy is like, I knew you were gonna say something to her. I don't know why did you have to say something?" So take it away, Zippy. Tell me why. What's your take on British social actions? Or
Okay, well,
English
first of
social
all, I'm from London, and Londoners have a stereotype in England of being really unfriendly and not really. I think, when you're talking about the small talk and the small chat, I think in the north of England, or anywhere else, maybe just apart from London, people do say, they will, they kind of like acknowledge or nod whenever they see maybe just someone just down the street, or they could strike up a conversation. They could do. But in London, I don't know, maybe New Yorkers also have the same stereotype. I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'm not from New York.
Yeah.
But I've been several times. New Yorkers have this like fast-paced attitude. Like a lot of New Yorkers talk really, really fast, and like it's just like, come on, let's get it now, and da-da-da-da. And I've heard, being from the Midwest, I've heard that I'm very friendly and nice whenever I've been to New York, or like I travel to like maybe the eastern parts
You're
of.
definitely chatty, that's for sure. Like to strangers is what I mean. Like you definitely are comfortable just doing that. Like for the life of me, I mean, unless there's a need for me to have to interact or talk with that person, I'm not going to do it. I mean, like with strangers,
Yeah. Okay.
Because I mean, like I definitely feel like I think also your body language, you're maybe a bit more open. I think your body language is more open and more welcoming, certainly than mine is, a lot more than mine is. But okay, so back to my thing. It's just that it's hard for me to just, I don't know, I need a really good reason why I have to just talk to just someone like that.
But you think it's strange that we talk to strangers or are friendly to people we don't know? Like you think or thought that Americans are being fake?
Yeah.
When we be friendly. When we're being friendly.
And I can honestly say this, I don't think I'm the only British person that thinks this, because sometimes I do wonder, why are you so happy? Like, what? What? Okay, so how do I put it? Okay, so sometimes, like when you meet someone and when you greet someone and they're all there like, "Oh, hi, oh my God, it's so good to meet you." And you're just thinking, like, I've just known you for like a minute. There's no need for you to be this happy. But I can see why, because I think you're trying to maybe establish, like, you're trying to break the ice. I think whereas for maybe...
Or maybe you just like meet people and they're delighted to meet you because you're a friend of a friend.
Yeah, but I don't understand why you have to be so overly emotive. You can just be like, "Oh, hello, it's nice to meet you." Just like that. I don't get why it's very, very emotive. It's a bit too much emotion and passion that I can handle, for starters.
Alright.
But then, okay, so genuinely, but then since coming to Korea and meeting a lot more Americans, I've just accepted that's just how you guys are. You're very open, very friendly when, like first impressions, you know, a bit like that. And I think the whole touching thing and hugging, it's okay with people I'm close to, like my friends, but I don't think we have to hug every time we see each other. You know, like if we see each other 3 times in a week.
So your parents are from Zimbabwe and South Africa? And I know in certain countries, I don't know about those 2 countries, but in certain countries in Africa, they kiss.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't grow up with that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, or like, you know, I'd kiss my dad good night and good morning.
That's different.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I definitely didn't grow up with that. I mean, my mum tells me that I'm a bit special in terms of how, like, I'm a bit cold. Like, I'm a bit shut down.
Standoffish.
Yes, and I will admit that sometimes I can be a bit. Okay, when I say, why are you so happy? I'm not trying to say I'm not unhappy. I just mean, like, there's just a lot of emotion being displayed. I'm a bit like, okay, let's rein it down a bit.
Alright.
Because I don't know, you know, like sometimes when someone is like that with me, I feel as if I have to reciprocate, and then it's going to definitely come off off of me.
But you don't have to though. You can just be like, oh,
yeah,
just be you.
Yeah. I mean, and nowadays, actually, a lot of people in England now are starting to do, like, greet the French way. Like
the French way?
You know,
Oh,
like
the kiss.
the 2
Okay.
kisses on the cheek. And sometimes I think I might prefer that because, you know, like, it's, you know, when you're hugging. But, I mean, to be honest, but then again...
Do they actually touch? They don't actually kiss.
They don't
it's just
actually,
cheek,
yeah.
Kind of like, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
And to be honest, I kind of say, like, I don't mind just hugging my friends, people I know. But on the first meeting, I don't think I'm going to hug someone goodbye. Put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. And also...
It depends. Like, if they seem like a creeper, like they're just trying to get a free feel, I wouldn't do it. But if I just met the person, we had a really good conversation, we connected, and they're a hugger, because, you know, some people are huggers. Like, I'm a hugger, can I get a hug?
Yeah, and I don't know, you know, people who do that, people who are like, oh, I'm a hugger, and they're already coming to you. Give me the chance to digest that information before you just, like, coming in, I'm a hugger, and you're already holding me. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not really giving you much of a chance.
Even Americans, though, I mean, naturally, not all Americans are into that. Not all Americans are very social.